this video, we will break down how we moved into our dream home here within 6 months of moving to Spain, even when the banks classified us as non-residents.
So we're going to be covering securing higher loan-to-values, negotiating lower interest rates with your banks, avoiding buyers' state agency fees, mortgage approvals as digital nomad and foreign income households, and the real risk around las arras, the FAIN, and the Spanish banks.
So if you're moving to Spain, buying as a foreigner, which we'll get into, and navigating a complex mortgage profile, hopefully you'll enjoy this video. It might save you some stress, you can relate to it, and we apologise as well because we have the notes in the background if we're looking.
So stay tuned.
Before we start, there's one key thing you need to know about buying a property in Spain. The banks will not classify you as a resident, even though I had my residency card, until you have done your first tax return. We moved in May 2025, and we're filming this now in January 2026, so we've not yet done our first tax return until March, actually, starting in March for the year before. So until that happens, so basically, even if you live here, even if you have a visa, even if you are working in Spain, even if you're a Spanish national, you won't be treated as a resident, you will be categorized as a non-resident. And this has real consequences in terms of securing your mortgage. So what are the implications of non-resident status when banks classify you as a non-resident?
Well, at the end of the day, you have a loan-to-value that is going to be lower. Typically, the maximum will be 70% for a non-resident, when a resident gets up to 80%, and in some specific cases, even more. The interest rates are going to be way higher, perhaps 1% to 2% higher. And then obviously the loan terms will be shorter, meaning that it will be up to 20 years, when if you are a resident, you'll be granted up to 30 years.
So yeah, for many people that alone feels impossible. We came up against all of these things and eventually got to the best solution possible. So let's introduce our profile, our case. We moved to Spain in May 2025. I'm Heidi, I'm British. This was my first time ever moving out of the UK and moving to Spain. I'm here on the digital nomad visa. I work remotely for a British company, and from a banking perspective, they didn't really want to know me.
In my case, I'm Jesus, I'm Spanish. I have been working in the UK for the last 10 years, and even if my company decided to relocate me back to Spain last May, I'm still being considered as a non-resident from a banking perspective.
Yeah. So despite at least one of us being Spanish and both of us being fully employed, many banks, they wouldn't even assess us as residents, would they?
Yeah, and many banks do not even have an offering for non-residents.
So a pro mortgage tip, a bank branch strategy, not all banks are equal. And as Jesus would say, the rules are meant to be broken.
That's correct. So at the end of the day, larger branches in affluent and more international areas, like it could be, Serrano in Madrid, are often more familiar with expats and foreign income cases, which means that they have more experience with complex profiles, and even they might have more empowerment to approve exceptions.
So yes, perhaps if you're moving to a really small or rural area, the banks may be more rigid, and that single decision alone can change your outcome. First step, gathering your documents. Documentation is everything in Spain. Spain loves bureaucracy, they love in person, and we have to demonstrate civility above everything else. So what did we provide?
So we provided a lot of things. We provided Heidi's visa, Heidi's TIA, my Spanish contracts, obviously my Spanish pay slips for the last 3 months in a row, despite I work in the UK for almost 10 years. We have to provide all the full employment history in the UK, I mean, in my particular case in Spain as well, all the foreign pay slips from Heidi's works for my time in the UK, an employer's letter approving Heidi's work from remote kind of working scheme, P60s, bank statements, self-assessment declarations, all what you can imagine related with finance and income and outcomes, everything at one shop.
Yeah, key takeaway being that banks want to see stable income and they want to see your long-term intent to live in Spain, which, yeah, hopefully we intend to be here for a good 10 years, right?
Or even longer.
Step 2, your affordability and debt calculations. Banks typically allow for a 30 to 40% debt to income ratio.
Which basically means that if you have, let's say, a net salary of around 3,000 euros per month, you can have a total monthly debt of around 900 to 1,200. And that obviously includes not only the mortgage that you might be going for, but also all your personal loans, car loans, and all the loans that might be related to your person.
Yeah, exactly. So all the debts that you might have in the UK, your home country, be prepared to show all of that because transparency is essential. And next up, Beckham law and your work contract type. So if you're under the Beckham law, incorporate it early, even if it's approved but not yet visible on your payslips and tax return. The banks, they strongly prefer obviously a permanent work contract, but your long-standing employment history can hopefully compensate there as well.
So at the end of the day, the Beckham law is something that anyone that has lived in the past 5 years outside of Spain can ask for. It's really handy when your gross salary is above 60,000 euros more or less, and that's because the tax that you will be charged, it's going to be a fixed rate of 24%. Thank you to David Beckham. Actually, that was the way that the Spanish government contributed with Real Madrid to hire him to reduce the taxes for foreigners.
Yeah, thank you very much to the Beckhams. So next up, your bank relationships, as this matters a lot in Spain. Spain is very relationship-driven country, very face-to-face. So once you receive your Thai residency card, you're going to want to open a bank. I opened both a fintech bank and also the traditional bank, and start to build a relationship with the banking manager. First of all, we went actually down the route of using Jesus's long-standing bank as well, who you've been with for donkey's years. Those in-person relationships matter.
Yeah, of course. In-person relationships are essential. So at the end of the day, when it comes to a mortgage, it's a very key decision in your life. So having a conversation with your relationship manager, having a WhatsApp, texting them.
It's not uncommon, is it?
It's not uncommon at all, which obviously is very different from the UK standards. Next, we have the mortgage offers, the FAIN and the negotiation. So the first thing that you need to know is that a mortgage offer is not binding up until you get the FAIN. The FAIN is what we call the European Standardized Information Sheet, which contains basically the terms and conditions of your mortgage. Normally, something to bear in mind is that you have a little bit of room for negotiating interest rates and overall conditions with the bank. especially if you add additional products, you will get nice discounts. So for instance, a little bit of a discount if you get your payroll into the bank that you are negotiating with, if you decide to hire life insurance, home insurance, etc. That is something different from the UK. In reality, you end up paying quite of the same than if you don't get those additional services, but you have something of a little bit of a better case with the banks. You become more appealing, and obviously you get extra services with your mortgage that are always handy.
Yeah, so kudos to you because you negotiated aggressively here, especially if you might be getting multiple offers at this point. Next up, estate agency fees. Some estate agencies tried to charge us as the buyer 3%, particularly in high demand areas, which was just totally crazy. But we did have a really good experience using Remax in Madrid. No buyer fees. Yeah, very personable, but obviously remember that the estate agents
Yeah, at the end of the day, estate agents work for the seller. They are not working for you, so that's something you need to consider and have very in mind along the full process.
The background checks before your offer is placed. Spain has 2 land registries.
Of course we do. So actually we have one land register that is called Registro de la Propiedad, and is the official one equivalent to the one in the UK. And then we have another register that is purely for tax purposes that is called Catastro. In case that you want to go go with a mortgage and make an offer for a house, something that everyone recommends is that you need to request a nota simple from the land register, where you will get the information about the specific property.
Yep, and we'll put in the official link below. But yeah, do check carefully for the square meters, layout, bedrooms and bathrooms, storage and parking. Yeah, again, kudos to Jesus for doing all this. But discrepancies are common, so thorough checks, because...
Yeah, at the end of the day, discrepancies are quite common, especially in older properties. And they can cause some challenges and issues, especially when going into the valuation of the property. So at the end of the day, banks, when it comes to a mortgage, they normally tend to offer the lower of either the purchase price or the survey valuation. So if the registry data is wrong, your LTV is going to suffer.
Making the offer, the exciting part. Property market history is not publicly available on platforms like Idealista, but hopefully you can negotiate like 10 to 15% lower depending on your area and demand. We wish you all the luck there. In Spain, making an offer is again quite different, and you will pay around 1% of the property value. This shows your commitment. The money is held in an escrow account, and if your offer is rejected, the money is returned. Again, if you're, counter-offering and then rejected, the money is also returned.
Yeah, one important thing to notice is that your offer should include all the key terms of the contract. Basically, that means the timelines that you are going to go through, any clauses that you might like to add on top of the standard contract, which is really important, as you would see in the following steps, and then the deadlines for the next steps, which are las arras and the completion of the contract.
Las arras, the initial exchange. So at this point, this is the legally binding preliminary contract.
And basically at this stage, the buyer commits to buy the property, the seller obviously commits to sell it. The total deposit reaches 10%, which means that you need to put another additional 9% on top of the 1% that you did at the booking of the property. The completion date is agreed and the property is removed from the market.
Peculiar experience, you go face to face at the estate agency with the estate agency and the seller, and yeah, quite different to the UK really. So it's our biggest risk and how we protected ourselves. Because we were foreigners with complex profiles, we did not yet have that mortgage certainty.
So yes, at the end, we insisted to the real estate agency and to the sellers that we wanted a specific clause that states that our deposit would be refunded in case we did not secure a mortgage with certain conditions within a defined time frame. Obviously, you need to specify the conditions and the time frame. The lengthier the time frame, the less appealing you're going to be for the seller, but it's something to have a conversation around and ensure that you are protected.
Yep, and we definitely faced pushback and resilience there, but we demonstrated that we do have stable income and that we were actually going down using the estate agency's mortgage advisory service, which most of them tended to push us down here in Spain. In hindsight, if you would like to hire a lawyer to do those clauses as well, in hindsight it's better to do it at offer stage, not at the arras. This was our mistake. Looking back, we should have brought them in a bit earlier on. That being said, in Spain it's not common to bring a lawyer. So normally it's a face-to-face relationship between the seller, the buyer, and the estate agencies. But obviously it gives you a little bit of reassurance and ease of mind. Yeah, I think, this is what I was used to in the UK, using a conveyancing lawyer. It gave us some reassurance, but I think now we know the process. If we were to buy a property second time round in the future, we probably wouldn't use one, would we?
No.
Jesus will now talk through the phone timing problem, which not only we've encountered, but also your friends have been encountering as well, right?
And this is huge. So here's the problem with Spain, no? At the end of the day, the banks do not send your case to their risk department until you have completed las arras, which means that at that stage you have paid 10% of the value of the property. You are legally bound to get the completion of the flat or the house, and your mortgage is still not guaranteed. Obviously, for foreigners, risk departments are extremely cautious because these are complex cases, a little bit out of the box, which we experience. And we got changes in the propositions that they were giving us, changes in the conditions like the loan to values, the term to repay the mortgage, even loan delays. But at the end of the day, lucky us that we managed to secure an 80% LTV, but only after, having an interesting time fighting with the banks, ensuring and reassuring that your case was worth up to, and obviously after protecting yourself with las arras and even having to request some extensions to the time frames that were in that particular country.
So yes, by far the most stressful part of the process, and was happy to have the banks and the estate agencies on our side to support that. The notary and completion day, the buyer gets to choose which notary in Spain that you all go to. We chose one that was recommended by our friend. Jesus, you called ahead and made sure they spoke English. Our lawyer acted as a translator on the day. Our overly expensive lawyer translator. And yeah, what was needed? It was
so mortgage buyers have to complete a two-step process. The first one is that you need to go and pre-sign a financial questionnaire, basically to ensure that you know what you're doing and what you're going to be dealing with in terms of the mortgage. If you're a cash buyer, that's something that you don't need to do, but sadly for us commoners, it's something that we need to go through. And secondly, on the final completion day, you're going to be meeting with the sellers, you're going to be meeting with the state agencies, you're going to be meeting with the bank if you're requesting a mortgage, you're going to be meeting with your lawyers and with the notary, and you're going to be signing the contract and completing the deal.
Yeah, so that's a lot of people face to face round that one table, and it was around 45 minutes signing the property deeds, going through that, and then 15 minutes signing the mortgage part as well. And then the keys were handed over to us and we could finally pop the champagne. Woohoo! After what was about a couple of months process, all in all.
So, in terms of final practical tips, in case you're a cash buyer, you will need to deal with the taxes directly by yourself. That means the stamp duty. This is something that if you're a mortgage buyer, you won't need to handle with because your bank is going to take care of all the paperwork. Obviously, you need to ensure that all your funds are in your mortgage bank account before the completion date. Because the bank is going to be the one taking care of transferring those funds to the seller and obviously doing all the paperwork as well.
Yep, so slightly different from a UK convincing completion day. Final words of advice from us is that definitely buying in Spain is so possible, even with unique and complex case profiles like ours. Never take no for an answer. It's a wonderful investment for your future, but you definitely need a little bit of strategy going through multiple banks, interacting with multiple estate agents.
Yeah, I guess patience is the key. Your marriage might be on the line, but take it easy. At the end of the day, it's a matter of being patient and know how to negotiate and when to negotiate. Protect yourself at the right moments and showing commitment to the estate agency and to the sellers, and make yourself clear that you are a good case and a good purchase profile.
And we hope this video has inspired you. Let us know where you're at in your journey, and we really wish you the very best for finding your home here in sunny Spain.
Good luck.
Bye.